Ancel sent me 3 of their battery testers monitors to compare side by side and just give you guys my thoughts on them. First one we got is the BST 600. This is their $140-ish model. It is more of a shop-oriented model that can print out right on the fly whatever your results are, so you can give that to customers. And it has a few more features than some of the other options. Then we've got the BA101 model. This is the $40-ish model. This is your homeowner kind of DIY one, your average person. This will work just fine for them. And then they sent their BM300 Pro, and this is a little bit different than the other two. This isn't really for testing batteries. This is for on-the-fly battery management. You put this on whatever you have the battery in, and you can watch it in real time through a phone app. So I really won't be comparing this one to the other two because it serves a different function than these two. But what I find really intriguing about this is this can read and monitor 6 volt, 12 volt, and 24 volt. And I've got a 6 volt tractor. We have some 24 volt equipment, although that's not here right now. It can also manage lithium. It just has a lot of options where you can manage a lot of different battery types on the fly. I'm thinking this would be an ideal way to keep an eye on your boat batteries or your camper batteries or like golf cart batteries, anything you don't use a lot and you want to know when it needs to be charged and topped up to really keep those batteries in good health. Anyway, let's get to it. Let's start with the homeowner one, the one that most people are likely to buy. I've got this 08 Silverado that I put a brand new battery in because it was going dead all the time a year ago, and it's still going dead all the time, and I don't know if it's a battery problem or a draw on the truck. All right, I finagled the negative in around that stupid bracket that Chevy put in these things over the negative post, and we got the positive on. We've got a light. Let's see here. Quick test, battery in vehicle. That's what we want. Battery test. Regular flooded, cold cranking amp. 615 cold cranking amp battery. And enter, and it is testing. Here it says battery health is 93%, 593 cold cranking amps, 100% charge. Battery is rated at good. So it's looking like the battery's good on the truck, and it's a draw on the truck somewhere, which I do not have the motivation to find right now. But we can do a couple other tests here just to see how this thing works, so let's check them out. All right, so we're back to battery in vehicle, and now we can do a cranking test. And start engine. I gotta go. So it shows cranking normal. That works out really nice. Now we can do a charging test. Increase RPM to 2500 for the charging test. It's normal. It's pretty straightforward and easy to use. Another cool thing is after you're done and you've shut it off, if you want to look back at it, you can go here to review data and hit that, and good battery, normal cranking, voltage normal. You can review all the things that you just tested. It also has a cable you can plug into a printer to print your data. It's the 21st century and everybody has a cell phone, so take a picture of it, but you know, if you wanted to print it, you can do that too. Now, I always have a bunch of batteries laying around because I hang on to them because you never know what needs a battery, and then half the time the batteries I have laying around aren't any good. So we're gonna give it a try on a battery that's not in a vehicle. It's just been sitting in the shop all winter. All right, get this hooked up here. Do battery out of vehicle. Regular flooded battery, cold cranking camp. And one thing I've noticed that's cool about this is it has a memory. So if you're only using this on one battery, you don't need to adjust. It doesn't reset to whatever you started with the first time. But we're going to go here, enter, and it's testing. And this shows a healthy battery needs to be recharged, although it is at 12.14 volts. I don't understand how that's 22%, but we'll see what the other battery tester has to say about it. All right, let's give the big boy a try. First thing I notice is this is actually a lot lighter than it looks. I feel like no matter what one of these are, the cables could always be longer, but these work. All right, we got this hooked up, and it says black clamp, contact is bad, please check. So apparently I don't have the negative on well enough. Well, they lied. The negative was fine. It was the positive, and it thought it was a negative. Don't know why that is, but it's working now, so let's check it out. All right, right away, tells you battery voltage, which is nice. You don't need to go into it to do that, so I like that a lot. Let's see what we got here. Regular flooded, cold cranking amp. 15. Testing. Test good. Everything's there. All right. So, go back. Cranking test. Enter. Start engine. So this says cranking low compared to the last one. It shows about 1 lower volt. I did obviously start it once and shut it off right away since then, so that might be part of it. Let's see what it has to say about the charging test. All right, charging test is good. Data review. Battery test good, cranking low, charging good. I shut the truck off and I'm trying to figure out how to print, and I'm not quite figuring it out. Oh, there we go. All right, so it took me a minute of playing around to figure out how to print, but you got to do it immediately after the test by pressing this, and then you hit yes, print. You don't have to put in the last four numbers of the thing that's... All right, I've readjusted the paper in here, and we will give this another try. A little bit of growing pains, but that all worked out. Off to the other battery. All right, we got our other battery here that's not in a vehicle, and we'll see what it has to say about this one. Once again, does not like the clamp. All right, there we go. 12 volt, regular flooded, cold cranking amp. This one also seems to have memory. This is giving us very similar results, 12.14 volts, although this says it's much less healthy and needs to be recharged. So I'm going to quick do the comparison between these two and kind of give you my thoughts on them before we go get into the battery monitor. So this is nearly $100 cheaper than this one. I'm going to tell you what I really like about the BST600 is as soon as you put it on, it automatically gives you voltage. So if you're just looking to see what kind of volts are in something, right when you put it on, you know what that is. Where this one you have to dig through it a little bit before you get that result. Another really nice feature about this one is it does both 12 and 24 volt systems. Again, I don't have a 24 volt system here at home right now, but we do have 24 volt equipment, and being able to test that, especially out in the field when you're having problems and seeing if it's charging properly or if it's a starter issue, if you got cranking problems or battery problems, this would come in really handy for that, where this just tests 12 volt and nothing else. Now, if you're a mechanic or have a parts store, you know, being able to print the receipt out might be kind of nice. It's not really something that your average person is going to need. Again, we've got cell phones. You can take a picture of the screen. It comes in really well, and you can see everything you need there. But if this is something that works for you, that's great. It's not something that I would pay extra for. Now, this one does seem to be harder to get a solid connection on. Obviously, both batteries I tested it on, it required playing with the terminals a little bit before it got hooked up properly, but it did let you know. I didn't have that problem with this one, but I'm almost wondering if that's a bad thing, because these units basically have identical clips. So I'm wondering if this one gave me a little bit less accurate reading, and that's why these two gave me different results on both batteries, just slightly, not enough to really make a difference. But I'm wondering if this one beeping at me, making sure that I had a good connection, is why it gave me a little bit different results than the other one, and why those results showed each battery's performance as a little bit worse. I'm assuming that's the reason for the discrepancy between this one and the cheaper one. I can't be sure, but that's my best guess. If I was personally buying one out of pocket, which one would I go for? The 24 volt capabilities and the instant voltage reading as soon as you hook it up to the battery are a really big selling point for me on this one. I don't know if they're an extra $100 selling point for me. This one gave a close enough reading for me on everything where it can do the job I need it to do just fine. That's pretty much all the features you would need. It's obviously a lot more compact. And if it's my money for the amateur hour stuff I do, just seeing if my batteries are good on the bench or trying to diagnose a problem in one of my personal vehicles or a friend's vehicle, this is all I'm ever going to need. But if you're doing mechanic work, especially mobile mechanic work on things like heavy equipment, this is probably where that value really shines through. You've got the 24 volt option. It seems like you've got a more accurate read for really diagnosing problems, and you can print it out and give it to your customer right then and there, or keep it for yourself if you need to go run for parts. I think they're both excellent tools for whatever specific application you're looking for. Now I'm going to give this little doodad a try. This little doodad works on 6 volt, 12 volt, and 24 volt systems. It also works with lead acid and lithium. So pretty much any battery system you've got, you can monitor it with this right through your phone, which is pretty cool. Now I'll probably end up using this most on my boat because I'm putting a lithium battery in there for my trolling motor, and this will be really cool to just monitor the status of that and make sure that I keep it in good health. Right now I put it on my Camaro. It's been sitting. The battery was low. It wouldn't start, so I've had it on the trickle charger for a little bit, and now I can check out all the different features because this is like cranking features and all that kind of stuff. So I put it on here just to test it out and check out the features and show you guys. So now you can see here, since I just hooked it up, it tells me what my voltage is over time. It gives you a little graph, which is awesome. You can keep track of what your batteries are doing. So that way, if it was on a camper or on your boat or on a car that sits a lot or any vehicle that sits a lot, four-wheelers, you know, all that kind of stuff, equipment, this can monitor that. And it appears it has a cranking test, so I'm going to give that a shot. Well, it It showed low voltage for the cranking test, which makes sense. It didn't have it charged all the way up on the trickle charger, but hey, that works out. It's cool that you can monitor that in real time right on your phone. It also shows your total cranking time and your voltage drop and change during that. So that's a ton of cool, useful, and somewhat useless information for most people, but when you're trying to diagnose stuff, that stuff starts coming in handy. Now we're gonna check out the charging test. Start going through here, that process. Rev it up. That gives you a ton of really cool information as well. Yeah, idle charge, and this is almost more information than the battery testers were giving me. I'm actually pretty surprised. I was not expecting to have all that much useful information from this, but this tells you a lot. It's more of a battery tester than I thought it would be, although it's not as convenient as your traditional battery tester because you got to hook it up with these stupid little prong things, and they do not work very well on a side post battery. Although I suppose you could put clips on the end if you wanted to use it that way. This is really designed to be like hardwired into one dedicated vehicle. Like I said, I'm probably going to end up putting it in my boat and using it in that most of the time, but I can see a ton of applications that this would be awesome for. I really genuinely thought that this was going to be more gimmicky than it is, but for 40 or 50 bucks, if you have an application where you want to be able to just live monitor your battery situation all of the time, whether that's in a camper or a car or a boat or anything with a battery, it kind of seems worth it to me, honestly. Definitely not really going to be a necessary thing that most people need on their daily driver, but if you have toys like I have toys that all require batteries to run, this gives you a lot of information, especially when stuff sits all the time and before you go on a trip and you need to take it somewhere and the batteries are always dead. This will help you kind of prevent that and know where you're sitting without having to go drag out battery testers and battery chargers and all of that to see where you're at. You can just pull it up on your phone and it tells you exactly what you need to do if you need to charge it up. If it seems like it's going weak or it's getting bad, it's going to tell you right there, and you don't need to do a ton. Thanks to Ancel for letting me try this out and also letting me test a couple of their other battery testers. I appreciate it. I wasn't paid to do any of that. They haven't given me any money, just the products to give my review on. So it's unbiased, and I definitely thought that this was going to be super gimmicky. And again, for your daily driver, it is pretty gimmicky. It's not something you'd need. But if you've got anything that requires a battery that's not a daily driver, it starts to make a lot of sense. If you're looking into any of these products, hopefully it helps you make a decision. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me in the comments, and I'm happy to try to answer them.